Hello everyone, welcome to this budget special webinar. Today we have with us Vineet. Vineet is heading the research in Ventura Securities. So Vineet, we would need your insight to understand this budget. Markets have given a thumbs up to it with close to 1,000 points rally in the Nifty. What's your take on the budget?
So, so I believe that the party just got started. And why do I say that? Is that, for a very long period of time, there has been a lot of background noise which was just arresting the growth of the country. So we were resorting to raising rates to control NPAs. We were the government was very careful with fiscal spend. They were having the fiscal target in mind always. So all strategies were around getting the numbers right. But what the pandemic has shown is that you now need to take bold decisions, and the excuse of the pandemic is a reason for the government to let loose on the fiscal So what the government has done is that it has resorted to deficit financing. And before I get into that, I would like to appreciate the government in two things. So, there was talk of a COVID cess, there was a talk of LTCG being increased marginally, and other forms of taxation that could come in. So the first important thing is that none of these were even there on the radar of the FM. So, from the body language, you can make out that they are not very, very keen on taxing us anymore. They've taxed us enough. Second is, if you see the government uh, revenue targets, they are about 14.4% of nominal GDP. Okay, 14.4% growth, which is in line with normal GDP growth. So what it very clearly shows is that the government is gone conservative on the kind of growth that they will get. And, so by animal spirits, by getting into deficit financing and going to the market and borrowing money to fund that deficit. Okay, the government is clearly telling us that, we want to get the growth going at all costs. Okay, so what is going to happen is that, the function of focusing on capex on all the six large verticals of infrastructure. You talk of power, you talk of ports, roads, highways, and everything. They have just let loose, and I think that is going to create a situation where, along with the trimming of the customs duty to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat, or lowering of the custom duty to encourage manufacturing in the country. I think this background of the budget, along with the secular move to get people away from China to India, I think the groundwork has been laid. So what we are going to see is that we are going to get into a very, very long prolonged capex cycle, okay, which is going to spur activity in the economy, as well as kickstart the job creation process. So when you put up 7 parks in 3 years, textile parks, when you're doing this kind of work in infrastructure, or you are looking at giving one more year to the affordable housing for tax holiday, and you're keeping the interest rates low, it is really going to spur economic activity in all the sectors which employ a high amount of labor. So I think we have done well. We are going to keep persisting on doing well. And, while pharma, banking, specifically private banks, and, IT were the bellwether along with FMC in, contributing the growth of the economy. I think which were shackled because of a lot of reasons, I think their time has come, and they're going to outperform on the upside quite surprisingly more and faster than the market expects.
Right, Vineet. So, in case, like, if you could help us understand the budget in details, and like, what are the perks that we are getting, would be a great help.
So, let's go through these. I've just walked you through what are we estimating, but, let's understand uh, this picture more, clearly. See, the revenue receipts, as I said, we are expecting a 15% growth. So, if you see from the, see this number at 17,88,000 crores, okay, is very much, look at the revised number. So, if you see the budgeted estimates of 20 lakh crores, they've been brought down to 15.55 lakh crore. Okay, so when you're building 17.88, it is still much lower than the last year's numbers, right? So clearly there is a back foot on this aspect, right? There is also, if you see the expenditure side, here we are talking of 34 lakh 83,000 crores, right? Which is far higher than the budgeted estimates of FY21. So, just notice they have not compromised on spending at all. So while you are seeing 20 lakh crores revenues come down to 15 lakh crores and they budgeted close to 18 lakh crores, here while the revenue total expenditure is at about 30.42 lakh crores, they are going ahead and raising it by to 34 lakh 83,000 crores. So despite lower revenue collections, they are not compromising on expenditure. And so we are going to have a revenue deficit which is coming in at 5.1% of the GDP. This is going to largely get funded purely by the market borrowing that the government is going to resort to. Now, if you think that the government will come and do market borrowing, won't it impact the interest rate curve? So, you have to understand one thing, that there is so much liquidity in India as well as globally that, where we have seen the one-day spike in yields, bond yields, that will over a period of time taper off, maybe over the next couple of weeks itself, if we are right on that part. And then we will have the growth come back. So these are some of the few aspects that I wanted to find out. And, earlier we were constrained by the, a GDP number of 3% fiscal deficit, right? I think now we are at 6.8 and the government in 25-26 is talking about 4. So clear understanding that, we are in a new normal and we need to realign ourselves and we need to redefine our prerogatives. So I think this deficit financing is going to go a long way in kickstarting economic growth in the country.
Perfect, Vineet.
So, these are some of the stocks and the sectors which we think are going to clearly boom, right? So if you see affordable housing, as I spoke to you earlier, the tax holiday has been extended for 1 more year. And with the, low interest cost on home loans, I think this sector will do very well. So we like a few mid-cap names, which are Brigade Enterprise, one small cap, Kolte Patil, and States. I think these are all premium plays and they should be doing very well in their respective geographies. Okay. Now, if you take textiles, I think, the move away from China will help improve India's market share in the global aspect. And with these textile parks being set up, and, if you have seen the results of the textile companies over the last 2 quarters, you will be amazed at the amount of profitability that has been put up. And, all sections of the industry are going to do well, spinning as well as, garmenting, fabric and garmenting. So we like companies like KPR Mills, which is a leader in garmenting, and all these other players. Nitin Spinners is a value play on the spinning business. Wellspun India, because of the good brand it has in the bedsheet, towels, and, home textile space. Arvind Mills is absolutely of the of people, and it is in one of India's largest textile companies. I think that stock does require a lot of, focus on. Then let's talk about Gokuldas Exports. And this is a premium play on the, garmenting story along with KPR Mills. They've just got their act together now. And then finally, we have NAR Spinning, which is a stock available at a significant discount to its book value. So good quality management. And this sector has been the underbelly of the market for a very long time. So, once things turn around here, we will see a lot of, the growth sustained for probably 3 to 5 years going out. And, on the infrastructure space, I think, sky's the limit for what can be done. The government is setting up a development financial institution which can do humongous amount of business. So they're looking at a 5 lakh crore asset portfolio. And when you think of infrastructure, the one stock stands out is L&T. If you see the growth of L&T over the last few years, it is a software sector that has been performing, not as much as the engineering piece that is out there. And if you see the order book, which is so large, okay, and when you think of India, when you think of doing large capex, there is only one player who can really do it, and that is L&T. Okay, so I think a lot of money will go into the big cap money will go into L&T, and we could see that stock really outperform because if you take its order book to sales or the market cap to order book ratio, you will find that over the last decade now it has almost halved. So from there we will see the stock pick up. Government is focused so much on water because water is a concentrated area that if we do not take action, we'll turn India into a desert. So Vatek, Vabag, Iron Exchange, Ratnamani Metals, Jindal SAW, APA Apollo, contributing to the water and the sanitation of the government. Okay, if you talk of railways, I think RVNL is a good stock. When you speak of supporting ancillary services, you have Action Construction as a good play, and the government play on the gas business, where we are going to now be taking additional 100 districts into CGD. So GAIL, GSPL, Gujarat Gas clearly stand out as very strong plays on the gas economy. And KEC International is a very strong play on the power sector, plus the railway signaling, and the instrumentation part of the business. So I think these are the stocks that are going to do well. Okay, if you consider the shipping industry, what has happened is that in shipping, there has already been a lot of shortage of tankers and containers and stuff. And when we are giving subsidy to Indian shipping, especially Indian flag bearers, shipping corporations, Great Eastern and Shreyas Shipping really stand out. So I think these three stocks will do well. We've spoken about railways very briefly. So Siemens and ABB are some of the largest players there. Okay. And in power, when you open up the distribution to competition, two players really stand out. Torrent Power is one of our top picks, and Calcutta Electric. So Torrent Power and Calcutta Electric have got great experience with certain cities like Agra, or you talk of Bhiwandi near Mumbai, where they've cut all the ATC losses to practically 4%, which is the lowest that you can go. So from as high as 30-40%, you're coming to 4%. Obviously they will win tenders everywhere because they understand this business of, turning around, losing situations. So, scrapping policy, the amount of buses and trucks and vehicles which are over 15 years of age that, scrapped, and this policy is voluntary. This is going to give a sustainable fillip to all the CV manufacturers, okay, and the bus players. So we have Force Motors who makes buses, and all the other players, the usual devils, Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors, M&M, SML, Suzuki. I think we are going to have a secular cycle which is going to last for another 3 years, supported by the infra boom. Okay, and in insurance, when you increase FDI from 49 to 74, plus your health allocation is up 137%, the life insurance as well as the plays on general insurance are obviously going to do well. When we come to banking, the most neglected is the PSU space. But today, after the cleanup, the kind of body language that the PSUs are using is actually on par with the private sector. One simple example is that, once upon a time, Kotak Mahindra used to be leader in vehicular finance. Today, it is Bank of Baroda. Okay. And if you see the two, the differential in valuations is startling. Okay. If these guys are available at or below price to book, you're getting the other players at minimum 3 times book. So I think Canara Bank and SBI, Bank of Baroda can outperform the entire banking stocks. And we think that there are 2 banks government has announced which could be plays on privatization. So I believe Maharashtra Bank is one contender who's up, and there are a lot of people making beeline for the stock. So that is one stock that do well. Okay. On the public sector enterprise side, when we're talking of divestments, the government has really opened up the keys, to divestment. So they got clear. If you see from the Nirmala Sitharaman, the divestment is definitely going to go through. So we like the plays which are there: Concor, BPCL, Shipping Corporation. Gems and jewelry, when you cut duty on gold and silver, Titan is obvious play that comes to mind, right? Iron and steel industry have been doing fantastic, and so the reduction in the custom duty will only help be marginally negative for the sector. Electronics has already got the very strong boost, and when you talk of consumer durables, where they've increased custom duty on refrigerators and ACs. Johnson Control Hitachi is the only player who already has a ready available plant to make compressors. So they're completely backward integrated, and hence I think that they're ahead of the other players in the race to, become Atmanirbhar. And so, already been in a sweet spot. We've seen Apollo Hospitals, Fortis, Max Health, Kovai, all doing really well. So with this health allocation going up, now people are going to get more savvy about doing frequent testing of themselves, getting access to good quality healthcare, and along with AI and technology and large allocations to the health sector, I think these players will become very, very big names in the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, very respectable names. They're still fledgling. Apollo Hospital is India's largest chain, but still a fledgling in terms of market cap. Okay, agri stocks. So obviously there is a lot of focus on value addition. So Avanti Feeds, Waterbase, and all the milk manufacturing company and Nestle, I think will continue to do well. When you talk of irrigation and micro irrigation, we have Phenolics pipes, Poly, and Aries Agro is a small cap play which deals in micronutrients. And so we like that company because it's a very focused micronutrient play. And when you don't have tobacco taxation, then ITC mein kya hota hai ke price increases which were related to GST will now become price increases related to profitability. And along with agri, I think the company's time has come. So I think ITC will do very well. And finally, with the markets booming, will CDSL be left behind in terms of opening up accounts? So we like the brokerages and CDSL as a play on this entire thing. So this is a very, very good budget. And, with the amount of stocks that we have recommended, I think you can be, you can make sense of the fact that it's going to be an all-round AG.
If we were to ask you which are the 2 sectors that would majorly be beneficial among all of these, which one would be your pick?
I would go with 3 of them. I would go with infrastructure, I would go with the 2-wheelers, and I would go with the PSU banks.
Perfect. Thank you. There is another question which says ki India has not been working on the capex cycle lately. So what is your take in the sectors that would really work with the capex?
So, there is a, as I said, and if you read the beginning remarks of the presentation that we have sent, so we have said the infrastructure, export focus, and Atmanirbhar aspect, okay, and of replacing China in every aspect of trade, not only as India's trading partner, but also, replacing China on the global. That is a clear focus of this government. We have a better competency in terms of cost and quality, and two, we have the manpower to support that kind of growth, and these factors, I think, and we've got excellent relationship with the world with the COVID vaccine. The COVID diplomacy of Modi has outstripped the negative image of China associated with Wuhan virus. So this is eventually going to play out. And let's not be diplomatic with words, but I think the entire global political fraternity is very, very upset with China. So I think one way of that is by shadow banning China and promoting other destinations. So if you see, Japan has given a huge subsidy to the 40 Japanese corporates which are taking their production lines out of China, relocating either on their home geography or going to Cambodia and India.
So, Vineet, could this be the turning point for India?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We are at the birth of a capex cycle, and this capex cycle will only become more dominant and strong as we go ahead. And I believe that over the next 3 to 5 years, you will really see the capex cycle make itself very, very strongly available.
The next question is, what about solar industries?
See, solar industry is expected to do well, but there are no quality plays available on the solar aspect. So if I were to think of any listed plays that come to mind, I would keep up with Tata Power. As one play, you can look as a shadow, not as a direct play, it's a shadow exposure to solar capex.
There's this question which says, we need all our recovery. It was a great performance. It was a great performer today. Which are your favorite cement stocks?
So I would go with Gujarat Ambuja. I would go with Sagar Cements, Star Cement, and JK Lakshmi Cement. And there is one small player in South India called Deccan Cement. We have also come out with a recommendation on that. I think that stock can become a 4-digit stock. It's about 380 rupees. It can, if all things turn out well, then it can really fly.
Just for all attendees, if anybody has any question related to budget, they can give the question in the Q&A box. The next question is in terms of IT. IT has been the favorite for the markets in last 1 year kind of time frame. What is your take on IT? Has budget given anything to IT industry?
No, so there are no direct benefits to the IT industry. Obviously, the startup and the digital space is doing well. But, I think our Indian companies are more catered towards global projects. Okay. And we will continue to perform really well because, we have to understand the function of IT. The function of IT is to bring about efficiency in everything that we do. Okay. So whenever you have a global cycle, economic cycle turning down, people are overspending on digital and IT to lower their costs, right? They're systematically removing the human element out of it. And when there is a bull market, naturally the IT spend allocation also goes up. So whether you have a bull market or a bear market, we always have IT performing. So, you might have slowdown in IT, but, the growth will persist. And as TCS Chairman Chandra said, that, is a 30 to 40-year bull market.
Mhm. What about pharma companies and specialty chemicals?
So pharma
Vinny?
and specialty chemicals continue to be, favorites with us. Uh, we like all the frontline pharma companies. We just covered Kaplan Point. We think that stock has got a lot of space to run. 40-50% upside next 18 months looks doable. And I think that, you know what, there was nothing directly to these stocks in the budget. And they are in a bull market of their own. So the chemical bull market, which is a proxy play on replacing China, was already in play for the last 2 years. And that theme is now going to catch up with all the other sectors. And the one of the sectors which will be of eye-popping nature is going to be because we are directly competing with China over there now.
Thank you, Vinny. Duty cut on gems and jewelry.
So, there is
What
only
is
one
the duty
quality.
cut on gems and jewelry?
So there is a small customs duty which has been lowered to 7. If you see gems and jewelry, there is a duty to be rationalized in gold and silver. So she did not make an announcement by how much it is going to be coming down by. Okay, she said we will be working on that. So while there is no direct measurable quantum of announcement in the budget, but that is a work in progress. And obviously, one name that comes to mind is Tata Titan because the only quality stock available out there.
What's your take on NBFC sector?
So, the gold NBFCs will continue to do well. The financial inclusion market is so big, which the organized banking sector does not want to touch. Okay, so that is where all these players come in. And when you talk of autos doing well, the auto financiers like Shriram Transport and the works, they will also continue to do well. Muthoot Finance and other gold lenders, they're in a fantastic space of their own. They have outperformed and they will continue to play out well. So, what has happened is that 3 cycles have come to an end in 2020 and 21. So what are those 3 cycles? One is the NPA cycle has been washed out. 2 is the growth trajectory has kind of come down. And third is that the government has unleashed its fetters in terms of, consolidation. Now it is. So we will see with all these 3 factors being taken care of now, I think the only way is going to be up, barring for any, global meltdown in equity markets.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have a global meltdown in equity markets, obviously it is going to impact flows to the country, right? So that is the only caveat. Otherwise, we are on a very, very strong wicket and markets will do well. So I would like to especially talk about the global markets, given the bullish stance that we have taken in our markets, is the fact that valuations in India are rich on a historical and a near-term basis. But if this growth story pans out, what is going to happen is that the earnings upgrades are going to be much faster than what the market is pricing in right now, making the market cheaper for investors on a 2 to 3 year basis. The third factor is if and you have a global, then what is going to happen is we have seen all markets had a tide at the hips, right? So we had a bumper bullish response to the budget in India. But along with India, all global markets are also up. So to that extent, this sentimental impact we cannot escape because now we are part of the global money chain. So if there is going to be some kind of negativity in global markets, we are not going to escape. So if the US sneezes, we could catch a cold, right? But we will recover faster from the cold. So let's put it that way. And you should always keep at the back of your mind that the global cycle is not that encouraging. and we are one oasis in the entire global financial markets right now.
Thank you, Vinny. One there, and I do not think budget has anything on it, is the telecom one. Do you have a take on it? That's a question that's there.
Okay, can you repeat that question, please?
Your outlook on telecom sector.
So, telecom, there are only three players out there. So it's a oligopolistic market, and everyone is going to have their fair share of the gains. So Reliance, grew its market share very fast to become India's largest player by number of subscribers. Okay, but today Bharti Airtel is also clawing its way back. Okay, and Idea and Vodafone, somewhere they have got a ground footing now, so they're also coming back on their own. So can we do with a two-player market? I think the government is more comfortable with a three-player market, and with the third player showing signs of survival and bouncing back, I think that this would be a good sector to be in, because just like roadways and highways are the infrastructure of the brick and mortar economy, the broadband is the infrastructure of the digital economy. And where without the broadband, it's very difficult to build anything digital. So I think India's consumption of data is only going to grow multifold, and these guys will be beneficiaries of that, because we are going to see some pricing gains also come in as the cycle unfolds and the affordability goes up.
The next question says it's not really budget related, but it says ki higher crude and inflation, will it affect the flows to India, or it will be temporary phenomena?
So we have to always understand how the government and the regulator, that is RBI, works. Okay, it is all about containing inflation, right? And they also have got guidelines to that. So 4% plus or minus 2% is the broad framework that they use for managing inflation. So if you go to 6% inflation, the RBI becomes alert and they start implementing policies which will take care of the inflation. Now, there are two things. Is that when the money supply and the liquidity is large and there is no economic activity happening, then you will have inflation persist and put its head and try to tell you that look, here I am. But when you have growth capital and capex playing out, okay, that money gets absorbed very well, and then you would not have any inflation because capacities are being created. Okay. And so to that extent, I think we are in a sweet spot vis-a-vis the world which is trying to get inflation. Okay. So they're tom-tomming on inflation, because their economies are collapsing. Because as you integrate into IT a lot, okay, you're creating lesser jobs, there the wages are capped, and the purchasing power of the Americans is literally being skewed into the haves and the have-nots, right? So the purchasing power is being eaten into there, and they are not getting GDP growth. So they think that the only way to sustain GDP is by pushing up inflation, right? So while they want inflation, we have to understand one thing is that inflation can go out of hand, it can persist and destroy markets. So with India, I think what we have done is that the interest rate, so if you read the economic survey which came out, one factor which they focus very strongly on is the interest rate growth differential curve. Okay, so as long as your growth is going to be above the interest rate, we are in a safe spot in managing the debt situation of the country. And if you talk about this growth rate, we are the lowest in terms of all the players globally. So we are the safest. Okay, so we are the safest on that side, and we have got the animal spirits of a budget on the upside. So I think the risk reward is drastically in our favor. And even if inflation shoots above 6%, I think the government will still go with growth, because we are very much damaged at the, you cannot let growth suffer at the cost of inflation. So what you will have is that the liquidity could be drawn out, but the government will has learned the new to manage the new tools of tweaking the yield curve, right, which US has been doing. So I think the yield curve will be managed.
Thank you, Vinny. I guess we will take this one last question, which says, what is the reason for the boom in the global market since Corona impact is still there? Again, a non-budget question, but if you can.
So it's all Uncle Sam's liquidity, the amount of money that they've printed out of thin air. Where does that money go, right? If you do not, like, India is deploying, India is getting into deficit financing, but that money is going into creation of assets, and those assets are going to be money generating assets, economic assets. In the US, what is happening is that the entire printing that is being done is to safeguard businesses from going down. So that money is actually not being very productive. And when you have money which is not productive, it goes into the financial markets, and with the interest rates as they are, it results in speculation. So what is the size of the size of Apple? Okay, so Apple is a $2.68 trillion market cap company. India's economy is just a shade about 2 trillion. Okay, and when you have money being pumped into trillions, okay, and even a small portion of it finds its way into other markets, all markets boom, right? So this is the primary reason why the global markets have performed the way they have.
Right, Vinny, if we can just take, I think there is one more which just goes on, not too positive with the budget, which says ki, would India be able to meet the disinvestment target?
So that's a very interesting question, and that is one of the factors which the government will have to do if it has to manage the fiscal deficit. 1.75 lakh crore is a very, very tall target, and they've not included LIC in this. Okay, so keeping these things in mind, I think enough time has gone by with BPCL. So BPCL had its own technical issues, and the government has been working on that. But I think there is going to be a very, very firm hand in getting that divestments through. So I would be surprised if the divestments do not come through.
And that's very bullish for the economy in general.
Because
if that happens,
is that if you have a LIC IPO, I'll just give you an example. It'll be 1 lakh crores in size, maybe 70,000-80,000. So it's a blockbuster of an IPO, right? And there would be everybody would be opening demat accounts, drawn towards equity, and markets will. So it has a ripple effect of getting more people to participate in the stock markets. And if you have seen what has happened over the last 2 years in terms of the number of demat accounts which have been opened up, it takes me back to 1980 in the US capital markets. They had 6 to 8% retail participation, and by the year 2000 it was 49% retail. So if that same situation is panning out, we might be at best 13-14% of the total population on the outside, 13-14% at the peak. So we still have a long way to go if that trend has to play out.
Thank you, Vinny. We would request you to just sum up your take on the budget and the expectations of the on the market?
So my take on the budget, if I were to sum it up, is that let me start with the negative. Valuations are not cheap. Okay. Two is the fact that we are in the midst of a global storm which can disrupt the India's growth story. But if any of these were to be managed on a global scale, then I think India is the oasis for equity investment. Such a large market with the kind of population numbers that we have and growth prospects is not to be had in any country. Okay. So if you're a global investor looking for growth and wanting to do a sizable investment, I think India is the only market providing that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we will be the saviors of global GDP, if I may call it.
Thank you, Vineet, for sharing the insight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We have a detailed report released for the budget, which is there in our website now. So in case anybody wants the real input over there, they can go to our website and download the report from there. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll end the meet over here. Thank you.
Investment in the securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. We, Ventura Securities Limited, SEBI registration number INH 0000001634, its analysts and associates with regard to this video hereby solemnly declare and disclose that we do not have any financial interest of any nature in the company. We do not individually or collectively hold 1% or more of the securities of the company. We do not have any other material conflict of interest in the company. We do not act as a market maker in securities of the company. We do not have any directorships or other material relationships with the company. We do not have any personal interests in the securities of the company. We do not have any past significant relationships with the company such as investment banking or other advisory assignments or intermediary relationships. We are not responsible for the risk associated with the investment or disinvestment decision made on the basis of this video.